Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another much delayed solo RPG workshop. In this episode, we will be looking through the Palladium role-playing game. This is the revised edition. Now, uh, this game I do not know much about. As per usual, this is not a tutorial, this is not a review or a first look. This is an exploration. I am an amateur at RPGs, and I've been playing RPGs on this channel for over a year now, roughly, a year and a half. And I've had this in my inventory for perhaps 6 months now. I don't know if I've talked about this before or have recorded it. I did a quick search on my YouTube, didn't see anything come up regarding Palladium. I think I might have mentioned it in passing or shown it when I was chatting about my collection, but I don't think I've done a full-on exploration of it. Won't show everything, but I definitely want to give you guys a little look through this book. It's definitely a tad more complicated than perhaps traditional D&D. If we're talking about BECMI, or maybe it's up there with AD&D, 2E, perhaps. It's really a subjective opinion. But I've tried to make a character sheet several times off Palladium, and I have never had any luck. It is a very unique and involved RPG, an old one for that matter. This came out, I believe, in the 80s. We'll get to that in a second. But for anybody who knows how to pronounce this correctly, I will be probably off the mark. Palladium, I don't know. I'm just Palladium. That's kind of what I've been typically saying. Palladium. But anyways, this is the revised edition. As you can see, it says a 274-page fantasy extravaganza containing 20 character classes, 290 magic spells, 60 wards, 50 magic circles, character races, psionics, dragons, and adventure. And the picture on the front is phenomenal. And this is the backside. We get looks like a fire-breathing dragon, three-headed fire-breathing dragon, Hydra. Might be off on that, but we got this lonesome adventurer here fighting that creature. So when I found this was kind of my the kick I needed to collect and dive into older RPGs, the originals, what started the industry, or this genre of games. So when I got this from, I believe, a used bookstore, this character sheet was actually in it. And I've been trying to use this as a guide because whoever made this, you guys can freeze the video here and get a good look at the character, what is involved, but it's a lot of stats. Um, But whoever wrote this, the handwriting is 1,000 times better than mine. Very organized, as you can see. Everything is almost perfectly symmetrical, aesthetically pleasing. Yes, they had everything organized perfectly. Their occupational character class skills, additional secondary skills here, some stats, some notes, their abilities, their character information at the top here, some more stats, and etc. So this was really it. This is the character sheet I found inside. There is official character sheets online from the company that makes Palladium, and you can there's definitely other um, available. But if I'm not mistaken, Palladium is the precursor, I think, in the same realm of Rifts. So that will give you an idea of the complexity here. If I'm not mistaken, I remember always seeing Rifts, which I do own Rifts, the next edition, a fourth or whatever. But this is the book. So I don't know if this is the predecessor to Rifts, but this was printed. This specific book is the 10th printing back in 1992. So the game itself, based on this date here, so 1983. So again, the 80s, the early 80s. But this specific print, this book has seen better days. It's not bad shape, so definitely has had a fair share of page turning. But the great thing about this game, at least based on what I've done, have tried to do so far, was the character creation process. And the fact that there are, again, 20 character classes, that is phenomenal. More than your four that you get with, at least affect me. I'm sorry, more than four, but respectively saying that the original D&D. So, as much needed for RPGs, character creation is off the bat. Your first page, you get character creation. So, if I decide to go through some important factors or some key pages here, I hope to give you an inspiration to buy this book yourself. If it's online or if it's, I know it's extremely hard to find from what I've heard, but I got lucky finding it locally. But if you find this online, reprinted, if you're just interested in getting to Rifts or what was before Rifts, this I hope this video can kind of serve that matter. So as you can see, it's called Occupational Character Classes, OCC. There is a lot of skills. You got your fair share of dice rolling. Here are all the terminology to get familiar with. We won't be going through everything, but there are all of the attributes. They are as follows. You have IQ, mental endurance, mental acuity, mental affinity, sorry, physical strength, physical prowess, physical endurance, physical beauty, and speed. And then when you roll these dice, what it says here, some, depending on character class, depending on race, you get the amount of dice you roll per attribute. Some have two, some have four. You get bonuses. So if you roll over at this number or higher, you get these percentage numeric numeric bonuses as detailed here. And then there's the race details. As you can see, there's a lot of races available, far beyond what I typically see. Human, elf, dwarf, goblin, hobgoblin, kobold, orc, ogre, troll, troglodyte, changeling, gnome, wolfen. This is phenomenal. Gives you all the average lifespan, cannibalism, which is hilarious, and all of the dice amounts required for D6. Then you have the races more detailed down here regarding their physical size and height, night vision if it's applicable, possible psionics, and character class limitations, which obviously is going to be a familiar aspect to D&D class requirements. Here's a nice little drawing of all the races and then their labeling. So the character creation, this is like a textbook. I don't know the comparison to Gary Gygax's style of writing. Gygaxian, no, there's a word for it. Gygaxian method of writing, but it definitely is very detailed, descriptive, and again, it's like a textbook. But that's what I love about it. This is a game that I want to get into more. Whenever I see it on the shelf, I'll skim through it. And like I said, I've tried several times to make a character sheet, not to this extent. I don't think I'm there yet to be this skilled, but this individual, I have to mention again, it's so the handwriting is so it's so clean that at first I thought it was fake. But then I started to see there's older writing right here that the prior owner erased. I haven't done this yet, but I'm going to erase just part of this writing. It's so good. Let's take off the pounds here. So there we go. Proof this is not like printed out, but the fact that this guy or girl, whoever they were, they wrote this so neatly that I was at first thinking this was like a sample character sheet provided by the creators of this game, by Kevin. Uh, I don't want to butcher that name. Sabiata, Simbiata. Sorry, I apologize. I'm terrible with names, but this is a great character sheet. I'm glad it was in here because again, I can reference that as I need. At least in terms of organizing the details, if I were not to use a character sheet from online. Because the character sheets you can find online from the official website, the creators of this game. Let's find the company name. I think it's just Palladium. Let's see, all rights reserved. Part of this book was produced. Palladium RPG. I believe it's Palladium Books. That's what I'm seeing mostly on here. I didn't bother to tell you guys that in the beginning. I apologize, but any of it. Then we get to hit points. We go from languages to hit points. So there's a lot of race descriptions here. We have the optional section. You can roll in these tables to kind of flesh out your character more. A lot of things on here are probably going to be, um, I don't want to say uh, politically correct, but it's definitely going to be on the border from a product of its times, if that's how you see it. So it, I really don't know what to say, if it's going to offend you or not, but you can freeze the image here based on my potato camera and get a little hint at what you could expect. I've come across RPGs in the past from my collection that have terminology that may or may not offend you. I really don't know. I'm not trying to be PC or anything. I want to give you that warning because this is, again, from the 80s. Times have changed, and terminology and standards will most likely be noticeable if you read this word by word. But want to get that out there. It's still, these optional personal modifiers can be a big help to flesh out your character more, not just for role playing matters, but for the mechanics of the game. This will give your character, obviously, a few mods. So, social background that can modify your certain abilities, certain skills, disposition, racial, personal hostilities, and there's more. Now we have insanity tables. Like I said, some of this stuff might become a borderline concerning if that's how you view it. Phobias. Then you have alignments. Now, it says there is no true neutral. No such thing as an absolute or true neutral. There's always going to be some that will teeter, obviously, to you have good alignments, and then you have evil alignments. And then there's subdivisions of each alignment. That's what I like about this. It gives you a list of uh, characteristics for each alignment. Then we get to the experience points, how it works. Then the big part that I get stumped on a lot is the occupational character classes and allocating skills. Now, this is where skills start to become more apparent, and just wait. It gives you details about elective skills, so OCC skills, elective skills, secondary skills, and then bonuses with skills when you advance them. So, the part that stumps me is here. I don't know why. I mean, I'm just not used to this complexity, and that's probably a good thing. I can get used to it and learn it. But I that's what I love about it. I love the whether like if you are a seasoned RPG player who has played this game a handful of times, or you are looking at this and saying that is absolutely nothing, I can do it blindfolded, that is fantastic. I am not at that degree. I'm, again, an amateur, a pure amateur with just the addiction and interest of playing RPGs at the moment. So games like this that started out when role fantasy adventure games were becoming role-playing games, when that transition was happening in terminology, in popularity, because it was pre-internet, this is something I've been completely hooked on. Was these original games that shaped the industry 90s moving forward, 80s, 90s, since D&D's conception in the 70s. So seeing these games like this, not necessarily a spin-off, I'm not too sure how this game, what if it was inspired by D&D or if it was spun off or if it was the alternative that's player. I would love to hear people's opinions about that. Anybody who's in the age bracket who played this game, who experienced it back in the day. I would love to hear your opinions about Palladium, how you pronounce it correctly, how you see it compared to D&D, if it was the alternative, if it was like the escape route, if you didn't like D&D. I've heard about those instances a few times online from some reviewers. They were saying this was like the getaway, the other game to try and to stick on and got hooked into after playing D&D for some time. If it whether it's because of the magic system or the rules, I really can't say because again, I don't have enough experience to really give you a full opinion about that. As I'm just now playing Beckme with my own house rules for my Shadowscape campaign solo. So this is going to be further down the road for me because I just it's beyond me at the moment. I still have to think I should play Beckme more, and then maybe AD&D can be a next step, 2E eventually. Then perhaps I can get into this kind of territory. I'm not talking like hard master difficulty or role master, but like I feel like this is a good transition point if I were to ever get to the chart master, which I've heard was the community named hard or a role master. Apparently, is such a number crunching, table rolling simulationist game, heavy on the simulation, on the realism in that world. Uh, and another example is hard master, from what I understand, based on online reviews. But it seems like this game, if the rules are complicated enough, like GURPS to an extent, because GURPS has a lot of module methods, you can optional advanced rules. This might be a good transitional phase to go from a playable BECME system to a more advanced RPG that has things like this that look like a textbook and calculus, and it blows you away, and you're like, I really want to dive into this and learn more about it. So these are all, again, all the weapon skills, and now we're getting to secondary skills, and then you start to list how these are working percentages. I think it's a roll under system percentage, if I'm not mistaken. Again, I can't really give you too much information because I don't know the game completely. Then we get to classes. The thing I love about this is it's categorized based on these three. So let's go back just a hair. I missed it. It's pretty important. But there's men at arms. There's several character categories before you choose a class, an OCC. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? I was just yabbering on about um, men at arms. I know it's on the right side in one of these pages here. There it is. Men at arms, men at magic, clergy, and then there's optional classes. If I'm not mistaken, those are the handful of options you have. Here it is. That's the page I was thinking about. Men at arms, men of magic, clergy, and then optional. Optional is what is the class is the category that I was hugely interested in, mainly merchant. So that is very intriguing. We're talking level zero characters. Peasant, farm, stable hand, squire, scholar, noble. I mean, that's fantastic. That is really intriguing. You can obviously house rule that in D&D or other games. You can house rule a lower level human or another race, and that level zero character, quote unquote level zero, becomes a level one character after a fearsome battle or fearsome experience. It's just FYI. So we have all the usuals here. We have mercenary fighter, we have soldier, we have long bowman, we have knight, we have the Palladium one specific there. We have ranger, thief. We have, I think, then we get to the assassin optional classes. So blah blah blah. Don't want to give away everything here. I hope this just gives you some inspiration to get the book, but then we have armor and weapons following this. I love that they drew the weapon sample pictures there, along with the stats lined up. If it's kind of crowded a bit, in my opinion, at times, but then we get to more specific equipment with pricing, of course. There's so much to do. Then we get to magic, which again, I don't want to give away everything, but this book is just chock full of. It's a full book. It's a full kit. It gives you monsters, it gives you classes, it gives you combat, it gives you rules, it gives you character creation, and I think there is some lore, if I'm not mistaken. And then it gives you. Let's get to the characters, the monsters. So uh, this is an alchemist here. I'm going to see if I'm. Yep, that's magic. Trying to find the monsters, religions, gods, demons, and devils. Here we go. So these creatures probably would be the either lower ranking to tougher, more difficult monsters, villains to fight. Then there's looks like we got races here, and it seems it actually lines them up. The Wolfen. We got angels, and then here is the world on the last handful of pages. Information about the lore. So we're passing 250 pages. It goes all the way up to 274 with the ending here, past the index. Now that's it. That's the whole entire book. And again, this is not a review, just a kick if you needed it to look for this game or at least be aware of it. Because I'm so glad I bought this, and it was not expensive, at least from the owner from the original bookstore I got this from. That's really it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.